Frankie Morgan. I work for FMBOXING Media. I started it up about a year ago, and yeah, just been trying to crack on ever since.
Yeah, so worth the grind, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's one of them. Even just for the free tickets here and there, it's worth it. But getting to meet some
Yeah,
people that you call heroes, that's next level.
yeah. You meet some people that you never thought you would meet in a lifetime. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
so I'm doing about the future of boxing, mainly focused on the heavyweight division. How, what do you think has contributed to the most to say heavyweight division's growth? Like with you've got your Tyson Fury's, Anthony Joshua's. How do you think they have boosted the division?
I think, well, Anthony Joshua for one, just superstardom from the amateurs all the way up to the pros. Eddie Earn obviously had a very big say in that, pushing him through to places like Wembley for the first time and selling that out. And it just become a household name. Obviously, the brand deals help the
Yeah,
Lucasades, the Range Rovers, all of the Under Armour, Sports Directs, all of that stuff all helps. But I feel like he set the boundary. Tyson Fury was a little bit more on the slower side to start off with. Anthony
yeah,
Joshua was straight into superstardom, but nowadays I feel like it's a bit more Tyson Fury's favour with the
yeah.
Netflix deals and all that sort of stuff.
And then coming in and out of boxing. And
Yeah,
like
definitely.
yeah, he's brought a lot of people say like boxing has been on a decline, but it kind of has revived boxing with like the big names and stuff, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the heavyweights will always be the big names no matter what happens. Even with like Canelo Crawford happening, I think people are still tuning into Fury Joshua over that fight
Yeah.
anyway, just because of their heavyweights.
So it'll be a good like the fights they've had, the fights it's just mental. I mean, you've got upcoming fights now, and it's the names that are on the card are just mental, like unimaginable fights that you didn't think would ever happen.
Yeah, we had it a couple of months ago, even with Smith Boatsi starting off a card.
Yeah.
You would have thought 2 years ago that would have probably sold out the O2 and been main event.
Yeah. Um, who do you think, in your opinion, is an up and coming for like heavyweight?
I think the obvious answer is Moses Atoma. I
Yeah,
think, but after his next fight, I think he's past the point of up and coming. I think he's there. Then the
yeah,
up and coming, that all of that's finished after this fight, whether he wins or loses.
yeah,
Like I think this is such a big step up that no matter what happens in the fight, it will still be put up to a bigger level.
yeah.
But I'd probably say Leo just turned over.
Hmm.
Just pro under Sonny Edwards. I think from what I've seen of him, he looks like an unbelievable fighter.
Yeah. How do you think, not just him, but how do you think those up and coming fighters? I mean, it's a bit of like an obvious answer, but how do you think they will change the division from like not just they'll go to a like a card, get like a big fan base, but how do you think it's those their characteristics, their like way of showing their fight and stuff like that? How do you think that will change the future of boxing?
Hopefully, through people like Turkey El Sheikh and Frank Warren and Eddie Earn talking and all that sort of stuff, hopefully they're not only building the fight, because I see Leo talking about it the other day saying it could happen, but hopefully the difference between them and Joshua and Fury will be the fact that they will get the fight on. It may be at an earlier point in their career, so it'll help lift them, because I think a lot of fighters recently have been, well, not recently, but the last 5 years have been scared to lose, and then that's their
Yeah,
career done. Whereas these two might look at the money and think it don't matter if I lose. My family
yeah.
have got all the money in the world. It don't matter. I've still got a belt over my shoulder more than likely.
Hmm.
So I think they'll be more than happy to make that happen a lot earlier than what Fury and Joshua would have.
Yeah, because it's like Moses, like he's got like you've seen like Tyson Fury speak about him, Usyk speak about him, and he's got like he's got the names following him now. He's made his statement, and it's like he's still quite young, so he's going to have a lot more impact coming into the future. But it's like the younger than him, like the up and coming ones, like you said, it is going to change boxing for hopefully the better. So it is
Yeah,
going
the
to.
way that Moses carries himself as well. I see him 2 weeks ago at York Hall, and I congratulated him on getting a big fight, getting the big money out in Saudi. And the first thing he said to me was, "I haven't fought yet, so there's no congratulations." And do you know when you think that just goes to show that he's got it in him, that He wants to
Yeah,
be the best, and even getting the fights ain't enough for him. He needs to get in there, win the fight, and win it in a dominant
yeah.
fashion.
Well, who do you think, speak from going from up and coming, what is a fight you want to see?
If there was anything at the moment, I'd say purely as a fan, not as like a boxing purist, but as a fan, I want to see Dave Allen get anyone who's big,
Yeah,
anyone who's got a big name, because I'm a big fan of Johnny Fisher. I love Johnny Fisher, but after Dave Allen's two performances,
yeah,
the first one was obviously a very close fight. The second one was a dominant win, but after that performance, I think someone like Dave Allen deserves the Zhile
yeah.
Zangs. He deserves the Usyks, the Furies, the Joshuas. He deserves anyone that will
So it
get in
was
the ring with him,
it was a
really.
cracking fight.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Because it's like they both had their like moments when they was coming up to the fight. Like I can't fully remember, but you both see them get like their time in the glory sort of thing, like up and coming to the fight, like boost the fight as much as they can.
Yeah,
And it was they got quite a lot of attention for it. It was a good fight.
yeah, definitely. I think it's one of them ones like obviously Johnny Fisher, he had a very similar game plan to the first. But I think when
Yeah,
you're outboxing someone at distance like that, it can only last so long as a heavyweight.
yeah,
But I know if the fight was to happen again, obviously Johnny could come back in a different way. Dave could come back in a different way. It's one of them fights that'll be different every single time you see it.
yeah. So it's nice seeing like you see when you've got like the rivalries and stuff in boxing, it's proper. It does boost like the popularity of boxing in the world, and like just having the big names
Yeah,
like just go against each other and stuff. It does really change boxing, and it's brought a lot of like a bigger fan base to boxing, and it is
yeah,
really good.
100%. Yeah, because I think Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher, they're very similar as men, not only as fighters, but as men. They've both
Yeah.
got big fan bases behind them. They're both genuine family men. I
Hmm.
think things like that, that's when you don't mind seeing Johnny lose to a Dave Allen, and you don't mind seeing Dave Allen lose to a Johnny Fisher, because they're both like, well, household names. Hopefully within the
Yeah.
next 5 years, everyone should know them for the men that they are.
So it's good that the boxing has got the investment from Saudi with like Riyadh season and stuff like that, because it
Yeah,
is open
100%.
doors for a lot of younger fighters like we spoke about, but it's also bringing the big fights as well. I mean, you've got Canelo Crawford coming up. It's a big fight, and it's like not it's not unimaginable, but it is a good fight that we want to see, and it's
Yeah,
just really it's brought boxing back to its former glory because people do say it's been on the downfall recently, but it is allowing boxing to get back on like a mantelpiece in sports and stuff.
yeah, definitely. I think Turkey El Sheikh, some people love him, some people hate him. I think
Yeah,
I've never had a single problem with anything he's done other than sitting down for dinner with Canelo and Crawford. I did find that a little bit weird. I didn't really understand how that worked, but
yeah,
I think that won't happen now because there seems to be a bit of spite between the two of them. But I don't think he steps a foot wrong in boxing so far, Turkey. He might have his favourites and he might sway his way a little bit and try and
yeah,
push one person more than the other, but that's what everyone does in boxing. It's hard
yeah.
not to show your favourites in this game.
So, from your own knowledge, speaking of the investment, have you had anything to do with like Riyadh season stuff like that or anything?
So I done the Joshua Dubois weigh-in. That was the first time that I actually done any interviews uh, anywhere. To be fair, I'd done a couple damn boxing gyms, but that was the first actual event. And even the way that event was run, it was just a different level. Like the security
Yeah,
checks, everything you've got to do to get into that venue, and that's where, like, even at the weigh-in, I met Terence Crawford. And you know, when you think you're in London, you're at a weigh-in, why
mm,
is Terence Crawford there? But that goes to show how big Saudi have actually got boxing nowadays when
yeah.
he's willing to turn up in the middle of London and yeah, walk through a big crowd to get into a weigh-in like that just to see him stand on the scales.
It's like it's mad though, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
different level.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's I don't know how to describe it. Like just seeing those names there and in places you wouldn't really expect them to be. It's really like if people I don't know how to describe it. When like people watch fighters on TV and stuff, they like want to meet them and stuff in real life and like watch them in real life, do what they love
Yeah,
doing, and it just gives like having the money to go fight in like the venues in Saudi, or I mean, they're doing boxing's going global, really, isn't it? They've got
Yeah,
fights.
definitely.
One's just happened in Gibraltar a couple of months ago, and like yeah, the one in America, it was more closed off that one, but just having the fights there and be able to go to them, it's just unimaginable, really.
It's even seeing, I think I see well, Alcatraz is obviously the big one that he wants, but
Yeah,
I'm 99% sure I see the other day it was Tower Bridge or London Bridge. He wants to shut one of them and put a ring on it. And when you think of things like that, if someone said that 10 years ago, you'd have laughed in their face.
yeah.
But nowadays, it could happen next week and no one would even batter an eyelid about it.
So wasn't it Times Square they just had one, and
Yeah, Times Square,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought it was. They shut off all of Times Square.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just mad. I
I
mean,
think to even get engaged in Times Square and to shut off a little bit, I'm sure it's like £1 million. I can't imagine how much he's had to spend to shut off the whole of Times Square and have all the
um,
billboards with his banners on it and all that. He must have done billions.
it must have made not. It must have made loads off that though, just because of fighters there, and it's just mad there.
Yeah, the sponsorships, everything that comes along
Yeah,
with it. Well, with Turkey, I think he don't even mind if he loses money. He's that sort of bloke. I think he's got enough that he can afford to lose it to watch what he wants.
I mean, he's proper built his name in recent years, and by doing these events, he's building more of his name. I
Yeah.
mean, if like you look at your Crawford and Canelo, the sat eating dinner, it's just unimaginable, and it's just built. It's dragging more attention for one to the fight and two to him and the fighters, but it's just helping him build more of a like a background sort of thing for the future and what he can build upon.
Yeah, and it's even little things like I've just thought of Mayweather McGregor years back. Everyone was
Yeah,
debating whether that could even possibly happen. And then it finally happened and everyone was still shocked. And then Turkey Al Sheikhs made Francis Ngannou fight not only Tyson Fury but Anthony Joshua as well.
yeah,
And no one's
Alex
even batted an eyelid that that's even happened. It's like
yeah,
that's meant to happen nowadays. It's like that's just normal for crossover boxing at big levels like that.
yeah, because there was the battle of the batters between Ngannou and Fury, wasn't it? And like
Yeah,
that's still like it's still getting spread around with the stuff from it, and it's still like floating around like media and stuff, and it's still bringing attention to one the fighters, two the actual sport, and three it's bringing stuff to Turkey. So it's
yeah.
proper helping him build his like company sort of thing, really.
Yeah, I think he's half putting Saudi Arabia on the map. I know the football's going well over there, but
Yeah,
I think the boxing over there is just bringing so many more eyeballs. And even when he's got shows at Tottenham, like Ben Eubank, but he's got the
yeah.
Saudi Arabia logos all over it. He seems to just be dictating it at the moment.
And man, I mean, that's it. The atmosphere over there is mental as well, and you can even
Yeah,
see it. Some of the other global fights, like say for example, the one in New York that was mental. The other ones that have gone off in Saudi, it's just like the world really. You wouldn't expect, like you said, like 5, 10 years ago, if you said that, you wouldn't have said you probably would have laughed. But now
yeah.
it's just like it's coming into just a daily routine with him, like getting these fights sorted.
Yeah, it's becoming a monthly occurrence at this point. I think it's just one of them where you could be walking down the road and all of a sudden Turkey shut it off because there's a media day going on or
Yeah,
something of the sort. But yeah, I think he's slowly getting into the groove of listening to the public, little things like he used to do a 2 hour concert in between fights and stuff like that.
mm.
But I feel like he's slowly pushing out of that and just giving the public what they want, listening to the opinions. And the more he does that, there's no one that's going to be able to stop him really.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Turkey and the future of boxing, he's changed how we thought boxing was going to be. How do you think? I mean, we spoke about it quite a lot, but how do you think his investment is changing the like? How is it opening doors for the younger boxers wanting to make their way through amateurs into pros? How do you think that is helping them?
Yeah, well, I even see the other day he put a post on saying if you're a talented young professional boxer and you want to be on the Crawford Canelo undercard and even little things like that, there's so many young
Mm.
talented fighters that are now going to be pushing even more and trying to get them knockouts to impress
Yeah,
Turkey and to get out there. And it makes the fights better in general because obviously you'd be the same if you knew that you could knock out 10 opponents and then Turkey's watching and you know you're going to get 20 million come through over 5 fights and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. You're always going to try and impress even more. So I feel like then the amateurs are watching and they're thinking, right, I want to turn over as a pro, but I want to fight in Saudi Arabia within 5 years.
yeah,
So they want to impress as an amateur. And then as soon as they turn pro, they want to impress even more. So I feel like it's just all round, everyone's just trying to impress the main man at the moment. And
yeah, pretty
it's
much.
only, yeah, it's only
Yeah,
going to be better for boxing, really.
so it'll bring more money in. It'll bring a bigger fan base, and it'll start like you what say as a kid, like you're watching your favorite boxers fight in main stage, and it gets you on. It might want like it will influence the younger generation to start boxing, and then that's
Yeah.
another that might not all of them will go like amateur or pro, but a small percentage of them will, and it will just keep going and going until and it'll basically boxing will never stop really until I don't even know, can't even say when till because it's just
Yeah.
going that much.
Yeah, especially with him like promising to lower the pay-per-view prices and all that. So
Yeah,
anyone should hopefully be able to afford it soon. I've seen that he wants to go down to 12.99, but he could even push as far as 7.99 for pay-per-views. And you think
yeah,
that's just under a meal deal nowadays. Like it's not that far off.
yeah,
So anyone can then be watching the boxing and they can watch their favourite fighters for a
yeah.
fraction of the price that it is now.
So by having it lower, it's like I've just said, it's bringing more of a fan base, and even if he lowers the prices, it's increasing fans, which is getting more money. So you've just got to think about it in the long run. Really, it's going to make his money back, and it's going to allow him to push boxing more for the younger people, and then
Yeah,
open doors for more amateurs, pros, and stuff being able to just fight on these big stages. And
yeah.
it's changing boxing forever, really.
So even the little things like I posted a video yesterday of I think it was like 5 years ago that Ronaldo and Gennady Golovkin met up and they
Mm,
had a little interview together. And back then I remember everyone going mad like, "Oh, Ronaldo's met Golovkin. I didn't know he liked boxing and all that." Whereas nowadays Ronaldo turning up to a show is just that's normal. You've got to
yeah,
expect Ronaldo to be sat front row, and it's even things like that. He's probably the biggest superstar in the world, and Turkey's half got him under his thumb to turn up to every show. It's unbelievable, really.
yeah. So you've seen a lot of celebrities go into the events, and it's even if you're not a boxing fan, but you've seen a celebrity there, then it's more enticing. You're going to watch it, and like
Yeah,
having the
definitely.
big names there, it's just helping the fundamentals of boxing with the popularity, and that will even bring more money in. It's all just links back to how Turkey has done it to change boxing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think he's it's just one of them where he needs to keep on doing what he's doing. Maybe not try and push too much too quick. I feel like the Canelo Crawford fight is a massive jump for Crawford. So he's obviously tried his luck there and got
Yeah,
his way with it. But I feel like this is the peak at the moment. Don't push it too fast. Don't try and do too much.
yeah.
But who am I to tell Turkey what he can and can't do?
So he is going places. The way he's going, I mean, he's already made it monumental, really. But it's more of like he's helping Saudi because in past few years and stuff. It has been quite like both sides, like people find it controversial and stuff. But it's the way he's doing it is he's making not just boxing, but he's making Saudi better, and
Yeah.
it's just like I know Saudi's got Vision 2030 going on. It's like the economy and stuff. By having that, he's helping Saudi, and then he's improving boxing. So basically, for him, it's just a win-win, really.
Yeah, because I feel like he's just a normal fan like me and you, but he's just
Yeah,
got a lot more power and a lot more money because everything he's doing, it does seem like a fan sitting down for dinner
yeah,
with Canelo and Crawford. Like every single one of us would love to do that, but it's like that one kid in school always had the money, always had the best like games, and always had the best shoes and all that. I feel like that's just Turkey with boxing. He's just picking everything he wants and he's getting what he needs.
say going back to when I said about them wanting to it's rising boxing, bring more fighters in. If you look at it from not just the fighting aspect, but like say for what Turkey does is a like the biggest promoter of boxing and stuff. And it's bringing up boxing, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's bringing in people who want to do stuff within boxing without the fighting parts, like promoting boxing,
Yeah.
like the venues, it's political moves, stuff like that. It's helping, like, say I've just said about Vision 2030 and Saudi. It's like wanting to make more jobs, infrastructure and stuff. By having all these more venues, stuff like that, it's giving more jobs, and then even the construction of them, it's giving more like accessibility to the people in the country, and it's just helping them overall, really.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that this country might be missing by letting some of the fights go out and
Yeah,
not trying to put their foot down and try and keep these big fights. Like we're all at a point now where we want to see Joshua Fury, and I'm guessing you'd agree we want to see that at Wembley, we want to see that at Old
yeah,
Trafford, we want to see it at
definitely.
Tottenham, we want to see it at a big stadium, but we're all sat here worried that if it does happen, it's going to end up being in front of 10,000 people in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah,
and it's one of them where I feel like there's obviously Turkey will put it over here if that's what the demand is. But I feel like it's one of them things he's proving a point that he can push through his country and
yeah,
he can do whatever he wants to try and get his country on the highest step. And I feel like that's something that other countries could look at and think, right, we need to try and put our foot down, try and do something similar.
yeah. Say, like you said, he's oh, what's it called? Can't, I've just done it again and it's gone. But it's if we had more shows in the UK, it would be same as what he's trying to do over there. I mean, you can't always expect fighters to like fight like a bunch of times. Like they already fight loads a year. But
Yeah,
it's like if we had more shows, even for the younger, like the up and coming generation, it would help our country increase its like money, stuff like that. But he's doing his best. I can't blame him. He's making the shows. I mean, we've just had Ben and Eubank,
yeah,
and they're having their rematch in like September or something, and
yeah,
it's really helped. Not like again boxing, but it's also helping other countries. Like by having that in the UK, it's helping us. The showing like Gibraltar that happened, it's helping Gibraltar, and it's it's more global than what it used to be. I mean, you used to see boxing only happen in certain countries, and
yeah.
then once as it picked up, people thought with like it was too violent in a way, and it slowly lost its popularity. Because it's going global again, more people are just enticed to boxing really and being influenced by the name, stuff like that.
Yeah, because even some of my mates, a lot of my mates, well, I won't even say they're casual boxing fans. They're probably below the casual, but
Yeah,
they'll watch the Furies, the Joshuas, maybe Ben Whitaker because they've seen him on Instagram, all that sort of stuff. But even some of them have turned around to me and gone, "Oh, Canelo versus Crawford, that's a massive fight." And do you know when you think like 10 years ago, them two people weren't promoted enough
yeah,
that everyone would have known them, whereas now they are household names, even in England. Like there's not many people that don't know who Canelo is just
yeah,
because of obviously the fights that he's making now. Obviously signed a big deal with Saudi, so everyone knows the money that he's getting, and
yeah,
it's an inspiration to a lot of people as well.
yeah. Well, I don't really have any more questions or anything like that for you. But I've got one last one. If you could see the current heavyweight champion versus a past one, who would it be?
Are we talking Usyk for the current? Yeah.
Yeah,
So what? I've got this opinion. I've spoke to Spencer Fearon about it. The interview come out again the other day. I think Usyk beats the majority of them just because of the new
yeah,
style of boxing. But if there was one that I'd want to see test him, it'd probably be Mike Tyson, just because of
yeah,
that knockout power. I think I want to see him get clipped properly by
yeah.
someone who's as tall as him, and they ain't got to punch downwards; they can punch upwards at him. So, yeah, I'd probably pick
Oh,
Mike
great
Tyson,
answer
Usyk.
that is. I'm in your corner for that one. That'll be a cracking fight.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
I
happen
can't
now
see.
though, but
Nah, nah. Well, to be fair, knowing Mike Tyson, he'll probably come
no,
out for
he'll,
one
he'll
more.
jump in just to get the money now.
Yeah, I think that's number one for me if he's going to fight anyone.
Yeah,
But to be fair, I think if you're going off the other world champion, I'd like to see Daniel Dubois, Frank Bruno. I think that at Wembley, Daniel Dubois, Frank Bruno would sell out any stadium in England. I think that
that,
would have been number one.
that's perfect. That about sums me up for everything. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to say. or anything
No,
like
that's everything from me. But hopefully, I'll see you at a few shows soon.
that?
I want to see
Hopefully.
you get yourself out there a bit more. I've
Oh,
seen your
definitely.
YouTube, but we need it all over social media now.
Exactly.
So
Well,
anyone who's watching this, go over to Jamie's new page. You got to put a little link in the bio for it and get everyone to follow you up.
exactly. Well, you've already said where we can find you or anything, so I'll definitely be able to put in the thing for you. But thanks for your time and everything. It was amazing.
Anytime, anytime, Jamie. Appreciate it, mate.